Looking to make up for the penalties in. Tried to pass it across. Rebound chance. Another chance. Oh my goodness. What a save by Graeme Gemmill.
Little sick pass over into the slot area here. They walk in, drop pass, shot. Oh, baby. What a save by Graeme Gemmill. And he checks in with his best of the game so far.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 6 of the EOSHL podcast. I'm your host, Justin Allery. He's a future OPP police officer. This past season, he had a 2-1-0 record with a .922 save percentage and a 3.41 goals against average, split between the Deseronto Bulldogs and the Frontenac Phantoms. He's also one of the founding members of the Deseronto Bulldogs. Welcome to the show, Graeme Gemmill.
Justin, thanks for having me, buddy.
No worries. Hey, I'm thrilled to have you.
I'm pumped to be here.
Let's get started here. So where are you from, and where did the hockey passion start for you?
I was born and raised in Godfrey, Ontario, which is nice because that's where Frontenac's located out of, where I'm playing now. And then growing up as a kid, I kind of just played pond hockey on my front lawn. It would flood, and I just skate down there, which kind of led me into playing minor hockey at Frontenac, where I definitely started to fall in love with the game. Started as a forward, and I kind of cycled into the net here and there. And then my driving factor to play goalie was we were in a game at House League, and I was playing wing. And Dylan Timlin, if you see this, just know I've never forgotten about this since the time we were 8 or 9 years old. But there was a scrum at the net. The puck was on the line. I poked it in, and he got credit for the goal. And immediately, I didn't want to be a player anymore. I said, nope, not doing that. So that's kind of where I fell into playing net. And then I played at Frontenac until minor Pee Wee. And then I made the jump to Kingston AAA from major Pee Wee on until aged out. And then I just kind of continued to play junior hockey in Southern Ontario for the rest of my career up until now.
That's awesome. So it's really awesome to hear that you had that journey in Frontenac and Godfrey. You're kind of back to the roots. Now, who did you look up to growing up, and who would you say you model your game after?
As far as who I looked up to, like everyone from Frontenac, I obviously loved Mike Smith. It was tough, right? Because he played for teams like Tampa and Dallas and even Edmonton. Like he didn't really play for a team that got a real opportunity to watch him play. He'd come to Ottawa once a year in person, and then you'd see the odd late game. So he was kind of a tough guy to follow, but I always admired him just because he was from where I lived. And then I guess as far as guys who I actually looked up to in my actual life would be guys like Kevin Drews, who I help now run goalie schools with. But he was one of my mentors as a kid. And then as I grew up, so he was someone I definitely looked up to. And then as far as who I modeled my game after, I'm almost insulting them, but I'd say it's almost a merge between like Scott Wedgwood and Anton Hudobin, where I can be kind of robotic when I need to, but sometimes I just kind of want to keep the puck out of the net more like Hudobin and just keep the job pretty simple, right?
Yeah, and we've seen you in the past make some saves that even I would say look Hasek-like in some cases. I don't know, how did you see that save the other night by Bobrovsky where he was out of position and he just kind of flailed back?
Yeah.
That was actually, you know what? I think there was a save you made similar to that in a game against Frontenac this year, actually, I think in overtime. When I think of big saves, you definitely have your fair share of highlights. Now, the journey to the EOSHL. So you're one of the, I guess you can say, pioneers of the league when it comes to the foundation that the league was founded on. You and Landon were key parts in bringing the Deseronto Bulldogs to Deseronto and to the EOSHL. You talk to us a little bit like what that journey was like and how you learned and discovered about the league.
Yeah, so I when I finished junior hockey, I was pretty convinced that I was done playing. I thought that I hit the peak of my career, and I sold all my equipment. I had nothing left. Like my last game with my junior hockey team, like on my way home, I believe I met a guy off Kijiji, and he bought my entire set of gear, gave him a cash deal, and that was it. I was done. And then I went kind of back to work in the summertime. I was working with Landon Punchard, and we were kind of talking about maybe playing senior. He had seen a couple leaks on Twitter about a new senior league in Quebec. So I ended up signing with Cumberland, and he was with Pontiac. So him and I were both playing the league against each other. Cornwall, who was also in the league, and that's kind of where we got to know Mitch Gagne, because I started in Cumberland, then I ended up playing for a team in Quebec, and I was driving probably 2.5 hours to almost 3 hours to game. So Cornwall was a little bit closer to me, so I started to talk to Mitch that way. More or less trying to get training camp information and how I could become a part of his organization. And then, I guess we just kind of chatted with him, and he wanted to put this league in Southern Ontario, or I guess Eastern Ontario. And we were on board from day one. I don't think Landon and I really took a whole lot of time to discuss it. It was more or less, how are we going to do this? The wheels kind of started turning, and we developed the plan, and we attacked it, and we achieved our goal. And we're both, I think, still pretty satisfied with where things kind of led.
Now, in terms of how did you guys come up with Deseronto? So, like, should I say is how did you guys decide on that community?
Yeah, I think our main focus was we wanted a place where it was going to be equitable, where financially we were going to be secure with sponsorship revenue and ticket sales. So we had to take into account an area that has a lot of businesses, which Deseronto does, and then an area that needed hockey, needed that competitive level. And they had the Storm there when they were the GMHL, and then the short-lived Junior C team that they had as well. And I remember when I played with Amherst, we played against Des. I think it was their first game. Not a big deal. I got a shutout. My first junior game was 7-0 with a barn burner.
No big deal. No big deal.
But even like when they were losing games 7-0, 10-0, they were getting a great amount of fans. Like, they were getting still 200-300 people a night who just wanted something to watch. So always kind of kept that in the back of my mind. And then Landon's family's kind of more or less from up that way, and he had a lot of close contacts there. So I won't say where else we looked. They weren't necessarily the first spot that we were aiming for, but we kind of fell upon it, and it ended up being perfect.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm gonna say. Like, anytime I've been to Deseronto, the people there embrace the culture of Bulldogs hockey. Even yourself, you have a fan up there who wears one of your jerseys. You have an autographed game used jersey. I saw her during the recent playoff run they had, and she was like, "Make sure you say hi to Gemmy for me." So I was like, "No worry, I'll say hi to him." I don't know her name, but I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. But I gotta say, like, that footprint that you've helped pop in there, it's tremendous, and it's a great big, again. This seems to be a really big theme. It's a really big staple in all these communities.
No, for sure. And I think it started to get real for us, where we put the team together, and the main focus was, okay, we wanted to give the town kind of something to watch, but selfishly at the same time, we wanted to play. We wanted to put a team together that could win. And it started to get real when kids were constantly hanging around the dressing room wanting autographs. They wanted to take photos with us. And that was kind of something surreal for us, because throughout my junior career, I might have had, 2 kids ever ask me to sign a puck, and they probably thought I was the starting goalie when I wasn't. But then, we started doing things in Des, and things kind of got serious really, really quickly. And the fans took it very, very serious. And so we did, and we ran it as professional as we possibly could.
Now, talk to me a little bit. I mean, I haven't run through this through yet, but when it came to, like, picking your coaching staff and so on, how did you decide, like, who is the right person for the job?
Yeah, I knew. So Steve Durnan, our head coach there, he was always one of my favorite coaches. He, if you will, would be more like a player coach, a guy that you could really, really count on for answers. And I remember playing junior hockey with Amherst, and whenever I was having struggles on the ice or even off the ice, I would kind of chat with him about that stuff, and he always gave me an honest answer and kind of bring reality to me, right? Where I was a young kid, and my expectations were maybe higher than they should have been for playing time and what I thought my role was going to be. And he helped kind of work with me in that avenue and understanding what my presence was going to be. And I just saw, he's a great coach. He was a great coach. He'll always be a great coach. But I think the big takeaway for me was that everyone loved him. And like he's still the nicest guy ever. Like everyone wanted to come to the rink to see Steve. Steve was drinking coffees with the boys before practices in junior hockey. Like he'd hang out late after. Like outside of the rink, like he was always a great guy to be around. So he was my definite number one. He was the guy that I wanted steering the ship behind the bench. And then shortly after, we hired Brandon Tucker, who I kind of met through Landon-ish, and we had some conversations kind of prior, and he seemed like a great fit. He came out to training camp to kind of help us evaluate, and we got talking to him. I'm like, holy crap, this guy's awesome. So we'll keep him. And then further down the road, I was introduced to his brother, Andrew, and they're just a copy paste kind of scenario where they're very, very similar, very high intellectual capacities when looking at certain things with the game of hockey, and things that I wouldn't think of, things that Landon wouldn't think of. So all three of them were great minds to kind of pick and get ideas and bounce things off of them.
Sounds like you guys had like a really good structure in place in terms of having just hockey people, hockey fans, guys who think about the game in different ways, right? And I think that really helped set you guys up for success. I mean, if you look at your records over the course of the last previous seasons, it was just an improvement each and every year. And you guys definitely have the right pieces there. Now, I want to talk about the uniform design. So when you guys went, say, okay, we're going to get a senior team. Let's talk about what our jersey is going to look like. You have two jerseys. I know you had your first jersey, which was the red one, and now you have the blue one. Is that correct? In sequence, if I recall.
Yeah, I think our very first was blue, and then we flipped to red, and then back to blue. Just different design kind of. And then the new jerseys we have, well, I guess they have now, are very, very sharp. But yeah, we wanted, again, it wasn't really a discussion that Landon and I needed to have. It was more or less, we knew that we were going to be the Bulldogs, because that's what the minor hockey organization was. Kind of give the kids an opportunity to have something to look up to, and to kind of make it feel like we were all playing with the same jersey on, right? Even though their colors are red and black, ours are red, white, and blue. And then the color scheme simply came from, I didn't give Landon an option because I ordered a set of hockey equipment for men's league for retirement, and they happened to be red, white, and blue. And I told him, I said, I'm not ordering another set. So our mutual agreement was that it was going to be red, white, and blue, but we were not going to try to emulate the Habs, because I know he hates the Habs and I'm a Habs fan. So we stayed away from that. But I mean, yeah, I know you got the jerseys there. The blue one, the red one's close, but that blue one looks very, very similar.
It's very similar. When I look at that, that's the first thing that comes to mind. And then we got the blue here. So that's why I pulled those out. Like they're very, very like close in the color scheme, like in this color scheme and design. So
there, yeah.
Now, I know you're a guy who I don't know. Do you recall the first time we actually had an interaction? Because I remember.
Oh, geez.
I'll tell you. So the very first time that we had an interaction was actually prior to the very first game of the season. Not last year, but the year before last. It was the home opener in Frontenac, and I remember going up to you because I noticed you had the blue true pads. You had the really nice custom mask, and I noticed you had Montreal Canadiens pants, and that's where we started talking about goalie gear. And I remember you mentioned to me it was Al Montoya's pants. So yeah, I just remember, being a goalie myself, you acknowledge these kind of things. So as a goalie, as a goalie, there's a lot of details in our equipment. So talk to me about like your equipment design and the different ideas like between your different sets of equipment.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of always like growing up, and I'm sure every goalie can kind of relate, where when you're a kid, your options are pretty limited. Everything you're buying is white or black for the most part. You don't really have a lot of opportunity to be creative with your equipment. So once I got into junior hockey, I really kind of ran with it, and every year I tried to do something pretty unique. And I was always a CCM guy, which obviously split. Lefebvre left and then kind of went to True. So I always have been kind of bouncing back and forth between CCM and True. And then CCM finally rolled out the opportunity to kind of do a custom graphic. So That's why I wanted to switch back this year. Very similar pads, so there's no really adjustment. But as far as the design goes, when I was a kid, I was probably 12 or 13 years old. I went to Kingston Frontenac's game, and the opposing goalie was Patrick Killeen. He was the goalie for the Brampton Battalion at the time. Went to, I think he was drafted by Pittsburgh later on. He actually ended up playing for Arnprior in the EOSHL, which is cool. But his set yeah. So his set, it was very similar to the one behind me, except for his colorway was just black and it was sport gold, like a yellow. But that set stuck in my head. Like, I'm 27 now, and it still sat in my brain until now. And the second I had the opportunity to do a custom mock-up, I sent it to my CCM guy, and I said, this is exactly what I want. There's nothing else in the world that I do want, because I've wanted this set since I was a little boy, and now I'm 27 and I got it.
So who is that CCM rep?
It's Matt Jenkins, the goalie for Dundas.
There you go. So you see, full circle here. EOSHL, all across. Some good people in there. Now,
if you need stuff, reach out to Matt.
That's really cool, because I had a set just like that when I was playing ball hockey, actually way before my ice days, and it had like the red with the white marks, kind of like what yours have in the background, but with the white going down the middle. So I really enjoyed the Revoke set from Reebok when they had those. Your mask, I'd say the one you had in Deseronto was really nice too. It reminded me a lot of Carey Price's with the logos on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have your designer, did you tell him specifically what you wanted, or did you let them basically give him the idea and then he just put it up for you?
I literally sent him the Carey Price reverse retro mask, and I said, just put Deseronto logos on this and whatever else you kind of want. And then he just did it up this way. And then my mask for this year, like, it was pretty fully custom. Like, I didn't get too crazy with it. Just have like our logos on the sides, on the chin, my name, whoops, wrong side here. And then we got some birds on the top here, some trees, that Godfrey feeling.
That's Frontenac. That's Frontenac for you.
Yeah, exactly. The Godfrey license plate. My fiance's.
That's amazing. That's amazing. The attention to detail on that is incredible. Now, you also work in goalie training programs with young kids, with Dean Gouvreau, Dryden Bedard, and I believe Jake is also part of that as well. Jake Clement. You want to talk a little bit about what you do with the kids and how you prepare them, and basically what your role is there.
Yeah, I'm an instructor at Between the Pipes Goalie School. Shout out to Kevin Drews, with Diener and Dryden. And I haven't had an opportunity to work with Jake yet. Truth be told, Jake and I have only talked outside of the rink maybe 2 or 3 times, just passing. We text quite a bit now, but I'm excited to look forward to the opportunity to work with him on the ice with the kids. And yeah, typically with these camps, we have 6 stations set up, and each station will have a different drill. There'll be an instructor at each station, and we'll kind of we'll showcase the drill to all the kids, and then the kids will go through it, and we'll just kind of critique kind of what we think might benefit them doing a little bit better, starting from the very bare bones basics of shuffles and tee pushes and leading with your eyes and your head. And then with our older guys, we do get a little bit more technical, and we get into more some of that advanced stuff. But it's just great to kind of be out there and see those younger goalies, especially coming from centers like Frontenac or Loyalist, Napanee, and then you see our other kids playing single A, double A, triple A, and Kingston. So there's a vast amount of experience, and it's cool because you'll see some kids even helping out other kids if they see something. But it's a lot of fun. Like, I don't want Kevin to know this, but I would do it for free because I enjoy it that much. And I know the other guys feel the same way about it, kind of giving back to the kids. And it's a blast being out there. It's tough. And you saw me when we ran into each other. It's tough when I fill in for a game too, because you end up being on the ice for 5 hours at a time without taking your skates off.
Yeah.
But it's a good time.
Oh, you're really helping pave the way for future EOSHL goalies, whether it be in Deseronto, Frontenac, or again, you're paving the way. It's really important for our youth. Now, let's see here. So as you mentioned, you played a lot of hockey in Frontenac growing up. what does it mean to you playing back in Frontenac at this stage in your hockey career?
Means the world. I don't think a lot of people have this opportunity. I know obviously I'm sure there's a couple of guys from GAN that grew up playing minor hockey in GAN and full circle kind of deal. Same with Deseronto. We had guys that grew up playing minor hockey there and they're going to get to finish their careers there. And I think it's nice that with senior A, you kind of have the opportunity to come to terms with yourself and when you want to be done. And now I have the opportunity to finish where it all started. And I think that means the most to me.
Yeah, it's when I learned that you were from the area, I thought that was kind of amazing. And like when hearing that your parents are coming out to Frontenac Phantoms games, and way before you were on the team, I thought that was kind of cool. And I know your parents are big fans of our team too, and it's going to be good having them in the stands with you as part of the organization. Now, what are some goals you have set out for yourself in Frontenac, and what do you bring to the table to the Phantoms?
For next season, just want to win games, have a lot of fun like I did at the end of the season. That was the most fun I've had playing hockey since I played minor hockey at Frontenac, being around a great group of guys. And I think my goal is just knowing how I can support them, knowing how I can support Diener and Dryden and Jake when it's not my night, and just find a way to be the best support system for those guys, especially the goalies when it's not my turn, right? I think it's good when goalies are competitive, and every team I've played on, goalies are very competitive. But we have such a good environment, as you know, with our 4 goalies right now, where we want to be in net, but it's more or less who should be in net. It should be who's going to give the team the best opportunity to win, and we all see it that way. So there's never arguments. Usually, when they're saying to Dean, do you want to play? It's more or less him or I saying like, well, like, you sure you don't want to go with the other guy? Or like we're almost arguing on who gets the start, saying he should go. Same with Dryden. I'm sure when Jake comes back in the picture, it's going to be the same way. But yeah, I think just being a good support system for the team.
I gotta say, like the group of guys in the organization in terms of like the goaltending is top notch. I gotta say, like even just being an e-bug, like it's a great community to be a part of. Even like just conversing with everybody, it's a welcoming environment. And even going to practice with you boys, it was fun. Like it's always a lot of fun. And I definitely take away a lot as well, learning about like different things that you guys do that maybe I can improve on. I'm not the biggest guy, but now I gotta ask, who do you enjoy playing against the most in the EOSHL team?
You know what? Every team's gotten so good that I don't like playing against any of them. Um, because it's never fun, honestly. It's just it's a lot of shots and it's a lot of compete level, which is good. But as far as fan base, the environment, I have nothing but great things to say about Barry's Bay or Tweed. Just as far as what you're getting when you're going there, the fans are passionate. The opposing team, like they're always nice dudes. They're not ever trying to really start stuff, at least with the goalie. Me myself, and they always show up to play. They always want to play hard, and I think just in your goalie too. So it's nice when you play against a team and you make a save and they come up to you and say, "Hey, nice save," instead of calling you something else you don't want to hear, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I know, like the game that you started for Frontenac, in Barry's Bay. Unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of our. Actually, I was behind the bench coaching, but we didn't really have a lot of our key components. But I remember one of the things was like the attitude that we had on the bench and in the room, even after the game, was incredible. Everybody was supportive of each other. We didn't have the greatest night. I mean, you were peppered with shots and you made some saves that that give me goosebumps, like the flashes of the leather. And of course we can thank Heather Johns again for all the amazing pictures she took of you that game. Now, next question I have here for you is this is going to be reversed because typically I ask people who's the toughest goalie to play against. Now for you as a goaltender, who's the toughest shooter to face in the league that seems to always get your number?
I got a lot of names, but I don't want to give anyone the credit. hardest guy to stop in the league right now, and if I can say if he's on my own team, is Don Thomas because he doesn't know where the puck's going, so it's hard to read.
Oh yes, good old Don. We
Yeah,
love Don.
yeah, we do.
I'm looking forward to playing with Don this weekend in that tournament, so it should be fun.
Mhm.
Now, did you watch the finals? And if so, what'd you think of them?
I watched game 2, and then I watched game 5. I was doing a little bit of work on the side, so I was kind of in and out of it. Jake Clement put on a clinic in game 5. I was just kind of watching him, to be honest, for the most part. And then I was just waiting to see when you were going to go down to the on ice level because I knew you said that at the start. So that was more or less what I was paying attention to. But no, just seeing the fans out and the how intense the game was. Super happy for Tom Dixon. He's been doing everything he can within his abilities to put that team together. And I had a feeling this was probably going to be their year. The writing was kind of on the wall with who they started the season with and the moves that they made, especially picking up Jake in that deal on a loan. Like that was huge for them, and their big dog showed up when they needed them the most, and well deserved.
Yeah, and I was, I didn't have a horse in the race. I mean, I was really happy for Jake, of course, but I didn't have a horse in the race. But just watching as that like non-biased, person or doing what we were doing, I thought it was spectacular for the league. How that series went, going the distance, how competitive it was, and you got to see both all different aspects of the game, like fantastic defense, goaltending. You saw some high scoring games, low scoring games. You saw everything.
Hmm.
Um, Now, with the league shifting to a new leadership, I know you had a really big history with Mitch. Mitch did a lot for the league in terms of getting our foundation started and bringing it to where it is today. Um, how do you feel about the new transition with the new leadership that we have on with John and Josh?
I think they're going to do great things. I haven't had an opportunity to meet them. I saw the podcast that you guys did together, and obviously they were saying some great things that I like to hear. Um, but I think it's always good to have a fresh set of eyes on things. And Mitch did an incredible job from day one. And I know some stuff kind of in the background with him was going on, and very difficult situation to be in to be able to focus on running a league, a senior A hockey league, and then worrying about your personal life, right? So I think I give kudos to him for realizing kind of when it was time to maybe step away. Um, but yeah, Mitch lit the foundation, and these guys have a really good opportunity to kind of hit the ground running and make the changes they see fit. They're going to learn quickly just from my experience and being an owner in the league. Not everyone's always going to agree on things. And that's probably the toughest part about being in this league is that it's, when we were voting on things as owners, it was pretty rare. It was ever 100% vote. There was a lot of 60-40 or 70-30. And you leave some people upset, but they're just going to have to do what's best for the league as a whole, and especially the future, because that's the big thing. Because it seems like things are going to be around for a while at this point.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to be part of it. It's like just talking with all the different players, people in the league. Uh, I'm just glad to be able to help you guys tell your guys' story and your experiences with the league, and I think it's great for our fans too to kind of experience this as well. Now, what's next for you? So what are the so what are your big actually your big visions for the future outside of hockey? I know I mentioned here you're doing that you're going to be a future OPP officer, so I'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I am going away for school for that shortly here. So that's a big part of my life, a big career change for me, and something I'm really excited to focus on and really put a lot of my passion into. Getting married in about a year or so to my fiance. It's a big step in life. And then, yeah, I think long term right now for me, and it kind of comes back to hockey, is that I'm going to continue to play for Frontenac, get married, work hard at my job, and hopefully once things kind of settle down for me, a big goal of mine is to kind of get back into Frontenac minor hockey. I'd like to kind of get on the board of directors or maybe see if I could coach a team there. But just find a way to kind of get back into that once my time frees up a little bit.
That's amazing. I'm really happy you said that. That's incredible. And like just kind of getting that hockey program in Frontenac, growing, making it better. I'm really happy for you. Now, what are going to be some big challenges for you coming up for this upcoming season?
Biggest challenge is I'm going to be away for a majority of the summer, so finding ice. I'm going to try to skate as much as I can when I'm coming back. I'm going to be doing a lot of off ice training to kind of keep my cardio up because it needs to stay up in this league. But yeah, I think it's just going to be a bit of an adjustment coming back because I'm presuming there's going to be some new faces in the lineup as there always is. And just getting to know those guys and how they play and how I'm going to have to play with them will be the biggest hurdle. But I think it should be pretty smooth sailing for the most part.
And just before we wrap up here, I want to ask you, do you have anybody you want to give a shout out to?
My Godfrey boys, Matt and Wyatt Villalta, Trent Snyder, Kyle Casford, Desert Lake crew. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well, Graeme, it is a pleasure. We'll be seeing you this weekend at that tournament. Hopefully, we have winning records, hopefully. And yeah, it's always a pleasure speaking with you, my man.
Yeah, man, you too. It's good seeing you, and I'll see you Friday. I'm pumped to see you in action. I'm gonna catch a couple games.
Yeah, hopefully, remember it's in the old timers division, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Fans, if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content like this.